In Assassin's Creed Rogue, Shay is able to kill civilians without the typical Animus 3-strike warning system. Does this mean that Shay Cormac ever spilled the blood of an innocent? Did Shay kill civilians? That is today's question. In this video, we shall explore all possibilities in an attempt to draw the best conclusion possible. First thing we need to do is try to understand why this warning message shows. The potential main reason may be because in previous games where the warning message applies and in the beginning sequences of Rogue, we're playing as assassins. The warning message shows for assassins because assassins live by the tenet of stay your blade from the flesh of the innocent. From the point where Shay is no longer an assassin, when you kill civilians, the warning message never shows again. This happens because Shay is no longer an assassin and is no longer bound by creed to keep his blade from harming innocents. So far there's no evidence to suggest that Shay actually killed civilians. However, in the stead of the warning system, there is now a notoriety system of sorts, and when you kill 3 civilians, you will be attacked by highly trained hunters. These hunters are immune to close quarters combat and must be killed tactically. Surely the simulation of Shay's memories is based on Shay's memories, so looking at the hunters like this and seeing their attire and everything means that Shay probably did run into these hunters at one point. I'm not entirely sure about the lore regarding this, however I'd imagine that although plausible, it may not necessarily be the case. However, the appearance of hunters must mean something at least. Safest bet would be it's probably Abstergo throwing in some things into the simulation to avoid people from getting too distracted. Moving on, let's take a look at Shay's character. Now, considering Shay's character, it's unlike him to kill any random civilian, so it's probably safe to conclude that he didn't. However, in Lisbon, Shay was tasked with retrieving the artifact at a precursor site. Shay's interference with the so-called artifact led to a massive earthquake that killed thousands of people in Lisbon. Upon returning to the homestead, Shay clearly acknowledges that he was the one to kill the innocents, when he says to Achilles, "You made me slaughter innocents." The acceptance of some of the responsibility by Shay and the knowledge that he was the one who killed the civilians in his mind may have affected his memories in a way that caused the Animus to not care whether or not the user kills civilians when experiencing the simulation of Shay's later life. Hence why killing civilians doesn't damage the synchronization. However, I'm not entirely sure if it's about that. The conclusion is that as a Templar, Shay is no longer bound to a creed that forbids him from killing civilians, meaning that he could have if he so wished. The hunter's presence when you do kill civilians in the simulation is probably because that's probably what would happen if Shay decided to go out and kill civilians. However, Shay's actions did somewhat indirectly cause the death of thousands of civilians in Lisbon, but that's not necessarily 100% Shay's fault, as he was just following orders, so to speak. Orders that meant recover the artifact from the precursor site, no mention of an earthquake or anything. If we were to count this, it would be a yes, Shay killed civilians in Lisbon. However, considering that he didn't mean to in any way whatsoever, and that Shay was just following orders, and nobody could have predicted what would have happened if Shay touched the artifact, it would probably be safer to not count this. Not as Shay physically killing innocents. Outside of Lisbon, Shay doesn't appear to kill civilians at all, and therefore we're going to conclude that Shay did not kill civilians. Just in case you got confused, don't know why. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this barrel scrape. It's a shame it didn't make 10 minutes so I could get more money from it. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share, comment, share the video with your friends, tell your friends about the channel, and I will see you all very soon in the next one with another video at some point. So I will see you later.